Good evening, professor and classmates. Tonight, my classmate Helen Ortega and myself, Margarita Garra, we will be exposing some positive effects of the narco soap operas. So soap operas have been part of the Latin American culture from many decades ago. They started with radio transmissions and then changed to television shows. Soap operas expose society's problems like poverty, adultery, murder, as some examples of conflicting situations in the society. The entertainment industry has evolved the soap operas to topics of narco traffic and illicit businesses, which have grown and have been established in the Latin American society. These called narco soap operas have gained popularity in the last years, and tonight our team will explain how narco soap operas are a new entertainment movement that is part of the Latin American culture, how they boost the economy, and also how they work as an educational tool to the society. So now my classmate Helen will continue explaining the cultural influence of the narco soap operas.
We will continue explaining the cultural influence of the narco soap operas. Soap operas are part of the Latin American cultures. They are a source of entertainment for the audience. Narco soap operas often feature storylines, complex characters, and dramatic scenes that captivate the viewers. The nature of these shows keeps the audience engaged and entertained. The narco soap operas also represent Latin American situations, so they shows with realities the Latin American cultures. The character development include the motivations, structure, and transformations of the characters involved of drug trade. By showing this, the narco soap operas humanize the characters and provides an understanding of their decisions and actions. Narco soap operas include frequently represents of the different countries' traditions as they are developed in countries like Colombia and Mexico. It is usual to highlight traditions, dialects, music, and fashions from these countries. By representing the Latin American cultures, and soap operas create a connections with viewers who can identify with these cultures' elements. Additionally, these productions create employment opportunities. Many artists have been employing, including actors, writers, and other productions crews that other views will not have the opportunity to work. There is also positive effects in different towns, as the filming locations become tourist attractions. My partner will continue.
Okay, we know that narco soap operas expose the negative aspects of the narco and illicit businesses that might lead to potential negative effects in the society. This is why we do consider that these soap operas are an educational tool because they expose the reality of being part of the narco business. They show the story of narco leaders since their beginnings, how they grow and their consolidation, but they also show the fate of these leaders that are also followed by the violence of their organizations and also by the hard laws against drug narco traffic. It is important to have a critical understanding of these topics because they show the negative aspects of narco traffic. So this type of shows are for grown-ups, for an adult audience. So it's important that we need to learn from them and teach younger generations about the negative implications when getting involved in drug trafficking. As a conclusion, the development of the narco soap operas in the cinematographic production represents the Latin American culture. They also show to boost the economy, and they also work as an educational tool to the society. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Margarita. Good evening, professor and classmate. This time my team is formed by Silvia Rojas and me, Mildred Prado, and we will talk about the negative effects or against the narco soap operas. The narco soap opera began to be broadcasted in 2008 in our neighboring country, Nicaragua, with the program Sin Tetas No Hay Paraíso. This production originated in Colombia. In a very short time, gained popularity throughout Latin America. This influence that narco novels have generated in the population has been mostly negative. For example, only in Costa Rica from 2010, the wave of homicides at the hands of drug traffickers, possibly influenced by the narco novels, skyrocketed. Although there are some aspects in favor of narco soap operas tonight. Our team will demonstrate that we cannot fail to expose that there are many more negative aspects than positive ones that can be found in this type of television programs, and we will demonstrate them below. Let's start by explaining why narco soap opera have negative effects among viewers. Soap operas have glamorized crime, drug trafficking, and violence. Many popular soap operas depict scenes of violence, which are often glamorized and portrayed as being exciting. This can lead viewers to believe that criminal activity is acceptable or even desirable. Big drug traffickers are very elegant and powerful characters. This, in turn, can contribute to the culture of violence or crime in our country, and not only in our country, but around the world. They alter reality, glorify crime at the time when the country is overwhelmed by drug war violence. That is the real consequence of drug trafficking. Now, my partner Sylvia will continue with the effect leaders.
Thank you, Mildred. In addition, we can add other negative effects about narco soap operas that are desensitizing the society. These negative effects are make the audience more and more insensitive. The population view scenes of crime and violence more naturally, such as street murders. People prefer to stay on the sidelines instead of help. Consequently, are affecting the society because of sexualization of the woman. Drug and violence are shown as a way to go out of poverty. Drug gangs show in these programs like a sense of belonging for young people. So now that we have analyzed the negative effects, we can conclude that despite the fact of narco novels shows a current reality of our society, unfortunately, they also have many negative effects like glamorizing the crime, violence, sexualization of the women, and causing negative effect in the society and in the viewers. As a recommendation, we say that government and society must be careful on who has access to these programs, warn parents of minor and young people about the content of these TV programs, and also support young people in vulnerable condition. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia, so much for exposing your group's perspective. Now we will continue with a small debate and some questions about the topic. So narco soap opera showed the reality of drug trafficking organizations. It is known that drug trafficking is part of the society in Latin America. It is a reality. This type of show tried to expose the topic to the audience and create awareness of the problems this type of organizations involve. So I want to ask you, at a general population level, what other educational tool can be used to raise awareness of the danger of being involved in these types of organizations and being exposed to these situations?
At the general population level, there are other more reliable sources when it comes to informing us about this topic in general, such as a good documentary or the news. In fact, we can access awareness and prevention campaigns or workshops and talks that can be done in schools or public institutions. Can be very convenient to teach people, especially young people, about the dangers of organized crime, and in the hands of specialists on the subject. These campaigns can offer clear and accessible information using real testimonies to generate awareness. In reality, there are many other sources, but it seems to me that this will be the main ones.
Mhm. I have another question. From a woman perspective, do you agree that narco soap operas present the woman as a sexual object, and why?
I can answer that question. I do agree that the narco soap operas have presented the woman sexualization in some scenes. There has been scenes in which prostitution is exposed, but prostitution is not a new social problem. It has been present in the human race since millions of years ago. So it is not an issue that is exposed in the soap operas. I also need to defend the fact that the soap operas present female characters and that acquire leadership in the organizations. So it is clear that because the topic is narco soap operas, they are not a positive example to follow, but soap operas present both cases, leadership and also strong women, and also the social problem of sexualization of women.
Thank you, Margarita. Would you, as a mother, be able to allow your underage children or children to watch these types of programs focused on drug trafficking, crime, and where women are so sexualized, where the assassination is an option to get out the economic hardship?
If we focus on the content of the narco soap operas, it is classified for an adult audience. Narco soap opera is directed to the adult audience, grown-ups that are able to watch the content and interpret the signs. It is our responsibility, adults, to transmit values and learning to the younger generations. Younger generations are not in the capacity to understand and properly interpret the content. That is why the motions, picture, content wrapping system exists, because it classifies fields based on their suitability for audience. Due to their treatment of issues such as sex, violence, or substance abuse, the use of profanity or another matter typically deeming is suitable for children or adolescents. In this moment, I have another questions. Society has many problems which we have been discussing: drugs, trafficking, sexualizations of women, violence. From your perspective, do you think by eliminating the narco soap operas, the social problems under discussions will be resolved?
I will answer your question, Helen. From our side, the answer is no. And that is why we suggest that the government and society must be very careful and who has access to this program, and also support young people in vulnerable condition with educational programs and economic support for families that have members that are studying, and in this way avoiding the probability to see the narco gangs as an option to go out of the poverty. Thank you.